So, so Keegan, I got what you just said there, and what's interesting is that was the position that I had for the longest time, and I think that it's actually a misapprehension. I do think that you're thinking that you are affirming something that's not true, and that's the thing I thought, right? But in reality, there's only a very small subset of trans people who are like that. And the people generally agree that they are delusional or that they have a disorder. That is a disorder, right? There's a malady there. But the broad swath of the trans community, they don't think that. They don't think that they're the opposite sex. They think that they have a set of characteristics that would qualify them to be put in a feminine view, right? So like they can be a handful of traits. And the thing is I think even you yourself have used woman in that way at times, right? You might see somebody, I don't know if you ever heard the expression, dude looks like a girl, right? Something like that. Or a boy named Sue or whatever, right?
Dude look like a woman. No, dude look like a lady.
Do look like a lady.
Dude look like a lady. Yeah.
Do look like a lady. Thank you.
A boy named Sue, that's not what the song "The Boy Named Sue" was about. By the way,
that's a separate point.
I'm on about Aaron's song.
There was a more tongue-in-cheek deal. But let's just say that you walked up on somebody that looked like Fabio from the back, right? And then maybe they had more work done, like something like a Caitlyn Jenner or something like that. If you didn't have any way, and by the way, we don't even determine sex by chromosomes anyway, at least not exclusively. There's other stuff there's a lot there. But if you say you aren't able to check that, right, you just see their appearance and the way they conduct themselves, right, and the way they act, the way they talk, the way they dress, the particular attire they have on, whatever, the accessories, etc., right? You might see a body of those, a collection of those, and you might just be like, that's a woman, right? And that could have been way before this, this whole trans movement has kind of taken off, right? And so I think even you yourself would be picking people out like that, and in fact, you might find out later that they actually were male, right? I've mistaken people many times what sex they are based on the way they conduct themselves, the way they look, the way they act. It's definitely happened. So my point is that there's already some of this going on, and you aren't going to be affirming something that is not true. That's the key point. So what I would say in summary, Keegan, is that somebody who is a trans woman, it's a male who thinks that they're feminine, right? They have some collection of traits that are typically typified, or they're typical of a female historically. Okay.
Yes, Andrew.
Right. But the big thing is they're not saying that they are a female. They're not doing that. If they do that, that's a disorder. That is something that people will broadly say, no, you got a problem. You're on you're in the DSM. You need to get your gender dysphoria, etc. Right? But if they just say, look, I like to wear pink. I talk with a lisp, or I talk real, whatever. High pitched, right? They love pink, not only the color, but the singer. All of these different things that they're into, right?
Makeup, ideals.
Right, exactly. So you take
perfume.
Right. So you take all these things, check, right? And then they say, since all of those things, and we're not going to be real rigid here, right? It's just kind of a loose body of these things. You kind of know it when you see it, kind of thing. Or there's a certain amount of these where people go like, okay, I'm a woman, right? And then, but notice what they're not saying. They're not saying I'm a female. If they were doing that, which is what I thought they were doing historically, and what a lot of people that are against using pronouns think that they're doing, be opposed to that, right? Because you'd be lying. You'd be saying something that's...
But that's exactly what they're doing, bro.
That isn't what they're doing.
No, it is.
Andrew, did you use hermaphrodites and intersex people to make your claim that we don't identify people by their chromosomes? And then we find the body in the forest, and we test their DNA, and we go, "Oh shit, this is a male. Hey, let's look at the pelvis. Let's look at all these."
Real quick, I want to answer you guys. I know that everyone wants to answer Andrew. But you interrupted Andrew. And on top of that, we're discussing. Andrew and I are discussing. Excuse me.
Oh, Sugar Belly's not the way you talk.
I understand.
Yeah, Sugar Belly's a narcissist.
Excuse me, Finkel. Unless Andrew moderate.
It's Finkel Keegan. It's Finkel Keegan.
Andrew, can you moderate?
Let's have Andrew. Finish, and then let me respond.
Yeah, Andrew, please moderate your room because this is weird. We have non-mods trying to moderate.
Andrew, he was supposed to be the one responding.
Require my service and
Well, don't kick anybody, Congress, because but I mean, welcome, brother. Sugar Belly is definitely on the opposing side on this, so I'm definitely wanting to hear her position. But I do want to let Keegan respond to Finkel.
Yes.
Finkel Keegan.
Okay, can I go after him?
Well, certainly. But yeah, and slowly get up here.
Good evening, Congress.
Go ahead, Finkel. Take your time, brother.
Thank you. Yeah. So, and I understand your point of view. There's two things to that, which is number one, just because you can fool me, does it? Like one of the points you made is, well, you find out later on that you've called someone a woman. You call this person she, her, and they actually were transgender. They actually were a man, but they identified and they had characteristics of a woman. You were fooled. That means that it's correct. Well, no, because we have a lot of individuals who will claim to be a form of biracial and they'll claim to be black. We've had a Rachel, I forget her last name, but she was very famous, who claimed to be black. We found out she was white, right? Just because she was able to fool a lot of people does not actually mean she can. Thank you, Rachel Dolezal. Just because she was able to fool a lot of people doesn't mean that again, identification that she has claimed for herself is correct. Now, if you're saying that these individuals, now as you just said, these individuals don't believe they're women, they know, or they don't believe they're female, they know that, but they are just identifying with womanhood. Again, identifying with womanhood is okay. Do I think it's actually socially okay? No, I think that there is social, repercussions when we allow effeminate behavior in men, and that tends to be bad for cultures. That's, I guess, a broader scope issue. But back to the person who says that I just identify with womanhood, I would say that individual, just because they say they identify with womanhood, they can identify with womanhood, does not, again, mean that I need to change my language to have that affirmation for them. Because, again, I don't expect any affirmation for my beliefs and any of my identification. I didn't say I was going to. I know you didn't, and I'm just affirming to you, you shouldn't change.
Yeah, I think Andrew said I could go.
Go ahead.
Oh God, don't let the sugar belly woman talk.
Yeah, so Andrew, I get like where you're coming from when you say that, if they were trying to claim that they were the opposite sex, that clearly there's something wrong here. I think the problem when people say that is that they don't realize that that's exactly what they're doing. So even when people claim that woman is like a social thing or man is a social thing, that's effectively what you're doing. Women are subsets of females, right? So the female category includes all female living organisms, like whether they're animals, whether they're something else, right? Within that broad, class of like living things, woman specifically boils down to female humans who are adults, right? So if you go just female humans, you've got like girls and women, but then if you add the fact that they're a mature stage of development, then you're down specifically to adult human females. And the problem is that a lot of people who have like these pro-trans stances, so like trans stances, right? So at the very extreme, you have the people who are trying to say that, gender and sex are different, like all of this stuff. What they tend to say, we're not talking about like females, talking about women, right? The point is this: they are conflating gender roles or gender presentation, or gender expectations, they're conflating these things with gender itself. Like, gender is sex. There's really no difference. Like, historically, gender has referred to sex, and they've been used interchangeably, right? Even when you say, oh, why can't you just use, like, you know, she, her pronouns or whatever? It's because when we say she or we say he, we're talking about somebody of a particular sex. We're not saying this person's a she just because they're wearing a skirt, right? Yes, is a skirt a dressing or a presentation that's typically expected of females? Yes, it is. But a man could wear a skirt, right? It doesn't make sense to start calling a man she just because that man is wearing a skirt. And what they're effectively doing or saying is that they're saying that, okay, I'm a man, I was born a man, or I was born male, right? And despite the fact that all of my characteristics still match.
You're saying gender is performative. Just hurry up.
Sorry, can I?
I know, but wrap it up.
Don't tell me to hurry up. Like, if you want me to hurry up, go and make your own room. Like, I haven't been rude to you. I don't know who you are. Like, don't do that.
I'm not necessarily being rude. I'm just saying hurry up. Hurry the fuck up, Sugar Belly.
Like, no, you shut
God.
the fuck up.
She never shut the fuck up. She kept going forever.
You use 17,000 words to say that they're claiming that gender is fucking
Really bad.
performative.
All right, everybody cut out the run moving. Just stop saying gender.
Stop again. I'm going to stop again.
Stop.
I mean, I agree with you. Just hurry up. Fuck.
No, I'm going to start again.
We don't block me.
Yeah. So just give Sugar at least a minute to land. Go ahead, Sugar.
Congressman, block me.
I'm sorry,
Yeah.
Andrew, before you do that, what's being pointed out to you, Sugar Belly, is that you are being rude.
Excuse me, it's my
By
turn to
talking
speak. I
to
don't
the
want to hear it. I
fucking
don't want to
Hey,
hear
shut
it.
up.
Shut the
I
fuck
don't
up!
want to hear it. I don't want to hear it.
You're droning on, Sugar Belly.
I don't care.
Just let her go, JJ, and you can certainly. I mean, look at the title of the room, brother. You're certainly going to have a chance to air him out. You know what I mean? But go ahead, Sugar.
Yeah, so as I was saying, right, so people talk about these things as if it's harmless or as if, oh, you know, it's a social thing. Why can't you just do it if it's a social thing? The reason why we can't do it is because, number one, it's not a social thing, it's a biological thing. And number two, pretending that it's a social thing is consequential. It's negatively consequential for women and girls, right? So, you know, when people try to act as if it's just a social thing, why can't you just be polite? What they're not saying, the quiet part they're not saying out loud is that your so-called politeness to the trans person, it comes at the cost of you actually harming women and girls, right? There is a rudeness that you're doing, or something that's worse than rudeness, which is harming women and girls, but you think that you're doing something good because you're quote unquote being polite to the trans person by trampling women and girls underfoot and undermining our rights. Yes, I'm
Okay, and I'm sure you're just going to not explain how you're harming them at all.
Okay.
Right.
Well, just
How are you harming them? Sugar Belly, Andrew,
Yeah, so how
all right, let's do it.
Shut up. Let her respond. Sully and Marcia talk.
Yeah, let Sully ask her just just an ISO, Sully and Sugar for a little bit. I do want to respond to you, Sugar. But go ahead, Sully.
Yeah, so what's the question? Or do you want an answer? Because what I heard is how
I think less smart Ethan's going to ask you a question.
If you will keep it.
harmful to women and girls to use preferred pronouns. You never said how at all. You know, you did the etymological fallacy. You clearly are agreeing that there is something like a social role. You just don't want us to use these words to talk about it.
No, I don't think the social role of woman or girl. I actually don't. So if that's what you understood from what I like, that's not what I'm saying at all. What I'm saying is that woman and girl are biological categories, right? Now you have gender roles, which are like, you know, basically roles that people try to make women and girls do because they feel that they should do them because they're female, right? But the fact of being a woman or a girl, it's not social. So when I say how, like the harm, right, there's different levels of the harm. So for example, even the basic erasure of identity, right? When you're saying that men can be included in this category of woman or girl just because, you know, they've decided to identify as such, you're effectively denying the existence of women or girls. You're saying that anybody could be a woman or a girl. All they have to do is like wishes into existence, right? That is harmful from an identity standpoint. It's harmful psychologically. Then there's also the category access harms. The category access harms are in society when we have certain things that are either reserved for women or girls because they're female, whether it's something like bathrooms or whether it's something like scholarships or of sports or even like prisons, right? Because a man or a boy has identified as a woman or a girl, he then is granted access to those things. Like nobody cares about the objections of the actual women and girls. All they care about is catering to the feelings of that man. And that has resulted in real harms for women and girls, such as in the prisons, when they've allowed men to come in there because they identify as women, those men have gone on to rape female prisoners, right? I think there's a case in California where like the female prisoner was raped. And I think one of them even got pregnant. So those are real harms.
It's kind of hot.
That's kind of hard.
Sully, did you want to respond? Or I can respond. I do.
No. I think it was a bunch of stupid shit that had very little to do with the preferred pronoun usage. Like you can haggle about prisons and bathrooms and sports.
Sorry, I probably can't hear you. It's kind of like, I don't know, you have like loud background.
Yeah, there was a lot of background noise. Yeah, Sugar, let me do this, Sugar, real quick. So let's just start here. If men, or sorry, let's do it this way. If males, okay, want to say that they are feminine, right? They say, I'm feminine. Would you be okay with saying that?
Yeah, no, that's okay. That's okay. It's okay for men. Okay. Yeah, it's okay for men to be feminine.
Okay. And you would be willing to say, thank the Lord, Bob. You would be willing to say that they are in fact feminine, right? You wouldn't be lying.
Males or biological males?
Right? You would say they're males, and you would say
but males or biological males. There's different definitions in this sort of.
No. When we say males,
you got to say biological males, Andrew. To be hyper specific.
No, I don't, because
you do. You're talking about biological males.
No, because when we say male,
trannies.
Okay, bro, just chill.
Why am I
Rich. I'm gonna have to move you down for a little bit.
I know you will, Andrew, because you have to go.
I love you, brother. Yeah, you know I love you.
He's copacetic, so strong.
It's Brother Rich, and it's good to see you, my friend. But I'm gonna have to move you down if you don't chill. So, hold on.
I know.
Okay.
Sorry, I offended your flag.
Move a couple things. Sorry, they're gonna script the continuity. Bob, welcome. Okay, so here's what I want to say, Sugar. So you're willing to call them feminine, okay? Now, you understand that words change usage over time. Gay used to broadly, when it was used to mean, happy or married.
It still does.
Right? No. It has a secondary or third usage. It is not the primary usage. The primary usage now is homosexual.
Is that true of every?
Okay, I'm gonna. P-Mars, hang tight, brother. So, Sugar, the point is that the usage of words change over time.
Every word?
Now, okay, P-Mars, I'm going to move you down if you do that again. Stop.
Is that?
So, I got to move you down, brother. So, all right, so we'll just do a purge if we have to. Converse would be proud. But anyway, so the usage of words change over time. Now, if say a subset of the population around the world want to adopt these words, ready? She, her, him, he, woman, man, and they want to take those words, like when it's the woman, she, her, they want to take those words to just mean feminine. Typically feminine. That's all they want to say, right? If that's it, let's just stick with this simple concept here. Feminine. That's all they mean, right? If that they mean, it seems like that is acceptable as far as language, as how it goes. People just change the way the language is used, and people broadly adopt it, or they don't, and then there's kind of a rift there, whatever, right? So if they've changed it to where it just means, they have a collection of or characteristics that have been historically, they were typical of female, okay? But they're not saying that they're female. They're saying that they have these traits that historically have been associated with females. Okay, if that's all they're saying, which I take it to be that is all they're saying, generally, the broad swath of them, I don't think that I'm forming a lie. I think I'm saying what is true, because they are in fact feminine. They may be really high pitched in their, or their voice may be feminine. The way they dress, they might have had various work done, all these different things, right? And you could say they are fitting this body of characteristics that typically have been associated with females. And so all I'm saying is it seems like you're not lying. It seems like you're just saying it's true. Even if you're opposed to it, you can still say that that's what they are, in the same way that if somebody was an alcoholic and they drank alcohol every day and they say, look, I'm an alcoholic, I am a drunk, I can say, you know what? This person is a drunk. I can say that, and I'm picking out something true. I'm saying something that is real. I'm not affirming it as in supporting it. I'm not saying, hey, it's good you're doing this, but I'm just calling it as it actually is. You're a drunk. In the same way, you're a feminine, or you're a trans woman. You're a woman, right? And so it's because that's what they mean.
Okay.
So go ahead. You're a scumbag.
So Andrew, the linguistic change is not even the issue, because yes, while it's true that words do change over time sometimes, or sometimes they can even acquire new meanings. That's not the problem. I think the problem is that we can test this claim, right? So if you have a group of trans people who are saying we're just attaching an additional new meaning to this, to these words, we're not trying to change the original meaning, right? We just are bringing a new additional meaning. The test of whether or not it's really just a new additional meaning, or whether or not they're going to change what the original meaning refers to, when they come up against people or things, right, who are describing the former. So for example, are you familiar with Korean spas? Like a Korean spa, I think it's called Jinjobang. Are you familiar with how it works?
No.
Okay, so it's basically like a spa, but it's like a naked spa. So they divide it into men and women, right? So if you come there and you're a man, you have to go to the men's side, because everybody's butt ass naked, right? So
I bet the homos love that.
yes. So basically, who that sets up the Korean spa and who built it and who make this separation, right? When they say he or she, when they say man, woman, whatever it is, right? They know, and they have made it clear that they are strictly referring to people who are biologically male, biologically female, right? That is what they're referring to. So for man, they're referring to adult human males. For woman, they're referring to adult human females. So these are people who are using the original usage. Now, if truly the trans people were not referring to the opposite sex, right? They were just using this additional new usage amongst themselves. When they go to places like Korean spas that rely on segregation based off the original meaning, they would not demand to be given access to the opposite sex. There have been at least 2 different cases caught on video of trans people coming to Korean spas. The most famous one was We Spa in California, but there was another spa, I can't remember the name. And they were demanding to be allowed to go to the side meant for the opposite sex, right? And that's the test of it. The test is that all over society, we're seeing these clashes between trans people who in casual conversation will say, oh, we're not trying to change the original meaning. But then in reality, the actions they're actually taking in reality is that they are going to people who have already made clear they're using the original meaning, and they're trying to force them to change what the original is referring to. And that's the test. They're lying about this.
Yeah, so I don't think that's quite correct. So let me just point this out, Sugar. So if a person that is, let's say they're a male, okay, but they're a homosexual, oftentimes they have female friends, right? And they get along quite well with them. And there's kind of some camaraderie there because there is a sense of friendship and kind of interconnectedness that they feel, given the body of traits or the body of characteristics that they have. So it doesn't seem that what's going on there, and I don't think that it's a proper inference, and it's certainly not what they're claiming with their words, that these people who are pushing for that are doing that because they actually think they're the opposite sex. That's not what's happening.
So why would they be wanting to go in there?
I'm going to tell you. I'll tell you real quick. So I'm going to want to be around somebody who's more like me, right? Or somebody who's going to be at least tolerant or accepting of me and maybe wants to hang out with me or has similarities to me. So if it's the case, for example, that you have some, rough and tumble, very alpha, very aggressive male and you have some Andy Dick, very passive, very kind of feminine males.
Wait, Andrew, but if the people agreed, the women wouldn't. So I don't know if you've seen the We Spa video, right, when it happened, but what had happened was this. When the trans woman insisted on going to the women's side, right?
Yep.
All the women who are in the women's
Can't
side.
listen to this girl anymore. I gotta.
Yeah, bye.
Yeah.
You too, bye. You too, bye.
No, you're transphobic, bitch.
Okay, I don't care, bye. So if you see in the video, right, when the trans women were going to the women's side, all the women and girls who were inside the women's side ran out. They ran out. So this whole argument of, I want to be with people who are similar to me, it doesn't work if the people on that side.
What does this have to do with pronouns?
The people on that side don't agree that you're similar to
It doesn't
them.
matter though. Well, first of all, hold on. Let me say this, Sugar. It would be interesting to look into this, and I haven't, right? But it'd be interesting to see how many females broadly around the world, what the percentage is that have been surveyed on this, support the trans women identities.
Andrew,
It'd be interesting to see.
I do.
Females don't agree. So
I support them.
I don't think you would like this rule, Sugar Belly, if you start having
Wait,
trans manure bathroom that has penises.
Wait, 1 second. So Andrew, so this is a common
Do you want people in your
you're
bathroom that
shouting.
have penises?
Sorry, 1 second, Jane. So Andrew, a common people say is like, oh, X number of women agree with this, right? But there's two big problems to that statement. The first problem is individual women cannot consent for other women. So even if you have one woman, two women,
Specifically, would you want someone in your bathroom that has
Jane,
penis?
just give me a second, please. So even if you have
Jane Valley loves the debate.
Jane.
Yeah.
Sorry. Unless you want me to just when you were speaking, like, because I haven't been rude to anybody.
Sugar Ray, keep going, Sugar Ray. Fuck these people, keep going.
I can do this to you as well.
Keep going.
It's not the only way to be rude is to call people names or do
Keep
things.
going, Sugar Ray. Don't even be distracted by the bottom feeders. Keep going.
Jane,
Jane, just
Jane, I promise you, when you start speaking, I will
You keep saying that, Andrew. Let her land.
Jane, I will interrupt you.
I mean, she is.
I will interrupt you when you're
right?
speaking.
Her plane has no landing gear.
Well,
When you're speaking, I
listen.
promise I will interrupt you.
He's just gonna crash it into the towers.
Listen, she's refueling midair. Just let her go. And no, it's fine. Go ahead, Sugar, and then we can kick it over to you, Jane. That's fine, or JJ. It's totally cool. Just let her go. Go ahead.
Yeah, so women cannot waive the rights of other women. Women cannot consent for other women, and women cannot waive consent for other women. This is a common thing that you see. You see a trans woman enter a woman's bathroom and say, oh, my female friend lets me in. Okay, your friend consents in the bathroom, but all the other women don't consent. She cannot waive her consent for our first thing. The second thing is, I think that a lot of people who are in highly westernized countries, they are kind of delusional about how many women agree or don't agree with this thing. First of all, there are very few Western countries where the majority of women even agree that trans men can be women, right? Let alone the non-Western countries where the rate of people who do not agree that men can be women is close to 90-something. So I think that there's a lot of delusion going on about agreements and consensus here.
Okay, let me just quickly respond. So that's the reason I said that about the, it'd be interesting to know what percentage of women who have been surveyed on this are, let's say, females.
There are second plane is at the towers.
So let me just real quick. So it'd be interesting to know that. The reason I was just saying that is because the thing that you were putting forward is you're like, look, these women, right, ran out of the room as soon as this trans woman tried to, force their way in. Well, look, I'm just saying, what is that? What were you trying to show there? Because obviously you could take many examples where they would be welcomed, right? And so the point is, I was just trying to give a response to say it'd be interesting, is that there might be a majority, maybe it's a slim majority, right, of people that actually are, female, that would say, you know what, actually I am welcoming or affirming of somebody who's a trans woman that wants to be in our spaces, right? I don't know. I haven't looked at the data on that. I'm just saying. But that wasn't really to make any broader point other than that, just to kind of push back on your kind of, the concern point that you're making about how females are interacting there. But your original point was to try to say that this indicates or reveals that these trans women are actually lying because they want to be in these spaces. And I responded to that by saying, no, it can just be, and I think it is, they just want to be around those that carry the similarities to their own personality, to their own
But
character
the
trait.
people who are similar to them are men, right? It's not
No,
women.
they don't agree.
Yeah, but even if they don't agree, like it's not
Sugar
nothing to do
baby,
with
sugar
agreement.
baby, hang on. Sugar baby, hang on. We said that Jane could go
Ooh.
after Andrew.
Yeah. By all means. Jane, come in. Go ahead.
Well, I don't think that
Well, Jane, like, do you not like to be interrupted by somebody when you're
Sugar, I thought you weren't going to interrupt.
I
She
started
said the opposite. She said she wasn't
Yeah,
going to do
no,
that.
it's fine. I can I don't think
And
that.
Andrew asked Sugar Billy a question, and she was answering. And then Jane was like, "Hey, it's either someone else."
now this is not the taste of your own medicine.
Yeah, I don't care if you interrupt.
Yeah, and you clearly don't care, but I care too because you were rude.
Man, let that broad speak.
How does it feel now?
I don't care.
Yeah, you don't care.
How does it feel now? How does it feel now? Stop being over dramatic, sugar bitch.
My issue is that if you're going to implement this rule where people have to use biological criteria to determine which bathroom they're in, I don't think that you're going to like that very much when people with penises start into your bathroom.
Don't they already go into her bathroom?
Penises that are going to come to the bathroom are
Females who had bottom surgery and now have penises.
there are no females that have penises even after bottom surgery. All bottom surgery does is it
Big
takes
floppy penises.
all bottom surgery does is it takes tissue from either the thigh or the arm to try to fashion a penis, but that is not in fact a penis. A penis
Great.
is
So
an
whatever
organ.
that is that you're so afraid of being raped by, that object, they will have that.
It's not
Whatever you want to
possible.
call it.
It's not possible for trans men. It's not possible for trans men
It
to
is
rape
actually. If you look
anybody.
into it, they're fully functional.
They're not fully functional.
Yes, they are.
No, they're not.
They have pumps in them
No,
that make
they're
them erect.
They
All you
literally
need
need
to do
to
is
have
look
a
into
pump in there because it's not functional.
Yeah, they're like a circus clown. They gotta pump it up like a balloon.
Like,
They can rape you.
the fact that it
And
needs a
that's what
pump
you're
in
afraid
there.
of, right?
They're gonna make it like a balloon puppy before they have sex with you.
Right?
Nobody's afraid of you freak shows. Like
She's
nobody's
probably a virgin. Sugar belly, you're probably a virgin. You're afraid of cock. Admit it.
One at a time, please. One at a time.
Oh, not the whore.
So how is this?
nobody's
I mean-
nobody's afraid of your freak show surgery. Like this is so delusional.
Well, it sounds like you're awfully afraid if you won't even
No,
let
but-
me near you.
No, but
She's scared of cock because she's a virgin.
do you agree that what?
Yeah, let every woman be like lush. She's like a slut.
Can you also
Hey guys,
I love cock. I love cock. I love it.
Yeah,
I
you know
love
you
cock.
little whore. You little dick.
Time out.
Like imagine you to say, "Oh, I think you're afraid of their arm tissue surgery." Like who's scared of that?
So, Sugar Belly, do you agree that whatever biological structure that they have that resembles a penis, do you agree that that can become?
They use a pump. They have to put like some pump in there. It's like that because it doesn't function. It's not functional.
So is that a yes?
It's a pumped up like piece of arm tissue. I mean, sure, if that's what you want to call it.
So
Yeah.
whatever biological structure it is that they're calling a penis, you agree that
But it's not a penis. It's not a penis.
So whatever biological structure that they call
Yeah,
a
you can make it
penis.
erect. Yeah, you can make it erect.
I don't understand why you're doing all this like evasive rhetoric. I'm not even calling it a penis.
I said you can make it erect. I've said that 3 times.
Okay, so
Okay, so when those people
so the point that she made, and now you can
bathroom,
continue, Jane.
Are you going to feel comfortable with them in there with
Because
you?
they're women. Yeah, they're actually women. Trans men are women.
And they have the same
Trans
structure
men belong in the
would
women's
cause you harm.
bathroom because no, they don't. Trans men. So 2 things. Number one,
Are
trans
you
men belong.
denying the fact
Trans
that they
men-
I thought that was the whole point. You didn't want people in the bathroom that could harm you.
Excuse
Is
me.
that correct?
No, that is not what I said. Andrew, did you hear me say that? Andrew, did you hear me say what Jane is saying?
I'm sorry. I did.
Are you afraid of getting raped
Wait,
by
how
them?
about let
Is that the
Jane,
issue?
let Jane repeat what she just said. Andrew, did you hear me say what Jane said? Jane, repeat it.
Are you afraid of being harmed by people with that appendage in your bathroom?
I'm
Yeah, I
afraid of being harmed by actual men.
So
Oh
even
my
though
God, why does
these
it make a
people have
difference? Who is
different
arguing?
functions in the
If it's
same
just
way,
No,
and
it's
they're
obvious
doing
because she's a
different things.
misogynist, obviously.
Oh my God, if the degree
How
of
do you-
harm is the same, why does it matter if the person is a man?
So that's a good question, but what the data actually shows is that the pool retain the male pattern of sex offending are trans women. So trans men are not a danger to women because they're actually women. They don't have the same rates of sex offending. The people who have the male pattern are trans women. In fact, the UK National Parliament had an inquiry about this because they had a gender relaxed law they were trying to pass. And what the findings show is that trans are overrepresented in sex offenders because they're male. So no, I'm not afraid of trans men with their fake penis in the bathroom because they're women. Trans men are women. They're not
It's literally the opposite. Trans people are at risk of being sexually assaulted to a higher risk than the general population.
Again, so the comparison.
You just moved the goalpost, so that's not the point that she made.
Sorry, I just want to point something out. Do you see like what
I said that they're at a greater risk of being sexually assaulted.
When looking
what Sully just said?
When looking at sexual assault between trans and trans women sexually assaults more. That's why she's saying that.
Exactly.
I mean, you
Sully
just moved the goal.
trans people versus the general population. But that's not what
It doesn't matter.
That's not what she's arguing there, Sully. I don't know why you even brought it up.
Like
You would know right around I had like 2 functioning brain cells. They wrote this weird.
Yeah, sure. I haven't insulted anybody here, but everyone here who supports trans has been insulting me, okay? So we're not arguing trans people versus the general population. What we're arguing about is who is a danger to women, right? Between trans women and trans men. And the answer for that, supported by all available data, is that trans women are dangerous to women because they're men. They're male.
What that is that?
So, I mean, do with that what you will. Like, trans men are women. They go to women's bathroom. Trans women are men.
No,
they should be in the
it
men's bathroom with their
doesn't help
special
that you
men.
keep. I understand you think that it doesn't help. Like, that's not what I asked. Repeating that over and over again.
No, I'm referring to what Jane said. Like, I answered what you asked. You asked me if that could become erect. I said yes 3 times, right?
No, I just asked you what data is that.
I didn't hear what you said. I didn't hear
sorry.
that question.
What data is that? When you say all available data, what is that data?
So this is the inquiry from the UK National Parliament that they had when they were debating their Gender Recognition Act. I'll see if I can find the PDF and send it to you.
Sure. I mean, I can just Google it.
I don't understand the point. So we're saying that trans women are, sexual assault perpetrators at a higher rate than trans men are. Okay. Are they higher rate than cis men?
Well, the point is that cis men
what
are
the findings showed was that they retain the male pattern of offending. So that means that their rates of sexual offending are similar to those cis men, and sometimes they even surpass them in sex offending. And people are threatening me. James is in the chat saying, "Oh, give Sugar Belly to ISIS." I haven't threatened anybody here just because you oppose my views. You guys are clearly the violent party, because the second you hear women talking about this thing that you don't agree with, you start with the insults, with the threats, with being violent, with being rude. Like, I'm sorry, but that's your business.
I'm sorry, but that's your business.
What I think Sugar Belly's point is that societal norms are not being pushed that cis men should be in vulnerable spaces with women, with cis women, right? That's what Sugar Belly is saying, is that there's no societal norms are allowing this, but we are now allowing trans women into cis women spaces that can potentially have a harming effect on women. And so Sugar Belly is saying, hey, listen, I would rather be more comfortable with a trans man who has a fake penis from their arm and have this balloon thing that they have to pump up rather than a trans woman who potentially has, again, the capabilities of what a man has right there. Again, they're still going to be stronger than a trans man because they still have the body structure, bone density, and usual strength of an average man, especially if they transition later on in life. So these things do matter to cis women because, again, these are their spaces. And with the idea that we're creating societal norms that should allow this is really interesting to me.
The safest
is when nobody's in the bathroom. So I think you should all get the fuck out of my bathroom.
The other thing that's crazy is it's like, typically people who are dating somebody in the bathroom don't really give a fuck what the sign on the door says. It's like, it's kind of fucking ridiculous place.
The other issue with requiring the biological criteria to determine which bathroom you're in, now, at least, if you are, quote unquote, look like a woman, that's a criteria that you can kind of use to determine if you're in the right bathroom. If she's going to refuse that and require that trans men are in the women's restroom and they look like men, now a regular cis man can just walk into a women's restroom, and what are you going to do? Like, how are you going to determine the difference between a trans man and a cis man when they're in the bathroom and you're requiring the trans men to be there? I don't understand how.
Yeah, but that's already happening right now, Jane, on the opposite side. I can say the exact same point on the opposite side, which is that me as a cis man could say I identify as a woman and go into the women's restroom. And the societal norm is that we should accept that. Pretty much, if you're gross and you look like a man, don't go into a woman's restroom. Even if you're a trans man, really, we should ostracize these people away from our societies. These people are detrimental. These people have mental issues, and these people are harmful. Whether or not they're doing something harmful by sexually abusing it. I'm so sorry that the middle of my sentence cut off the beginning of your sentence, but please let me finish.
You should be far more sorry.
We should get
way more sorry.
I'm so sorry.
And you
I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Everyone, I'm so
just
sorry.
continue to be sorry.
The middle of my
Could you be
sentence cut off the beginning of your sentence too, JJ.
Is that possible?
Real quick, which is that. I'm so sorry, guys. I thought I was gonna finish, and then I've been interrupted now multiple times. Can we allow just the
We do have to let him finish. Andrew, do you want to let him talk about how we can kick trans people out of our society? Is that what you want to have in this room?
Well, I think he needs to be able to
call them all gross.
Why is that?
They are gross. They are gross and disgusting.
Eliminated.
Well, I
want this in your room.
I do want to know though. What about does he want?
Man, it's crazy that liberalism. I cannot believe I have still not been able to finish my point. I mean, JJ, you can say you already know, but then that means that you're assuming, and assumptions make an ass out of me and you. So let's finish the issue. Let's finish.
Actually,
let's finish.
My typically correct is
in the same way that he needs to be able to finish saying that if he wants to say that he thinks it's gross and that the people are pushing this, it's gross, and then people want to say that he and people like him are bigots. Obviously, that's going on both sides. I think we do need to let him finish, and then other people can respond. Go ahead, Keegan.
Finish is saying that he wants them eliminated from society.
So
he didn't say that.
I just want him to be.
I never said that.
How do you
He
want
didn't
them
say
Quicker, guys, I would have already had finished my point. I'm a very short-winded individual. I don't speak a lot.
Let him finish. He didn't say. Don't misrepresent what he said. He didn't say that. He said they're gross, and we should not encourage that or not. Shun them away from society. Remove them. That's what he said.
Okay, if I can finish now, and again, I am short-winded. I don't take these long intermission breaks like maybe Sugar Belly or maybe some others. But when you continue to interrupt me, I cannot believe this. No one would have totally fine. But we can't have. I don't need to answer you during my.
If your goal is to change his mind, Jane, this isn't gonna be useful, right? We're not gonna have a good dialogue if we can't just chill and let him finish. Go ahead.
If you think that it's possible to change his mind, then you're very naive.
Okay, well
then what are you doing? Then what are you doing?
I'm doing this for other people other than you.
Okay, well then, but you're actually making it very hard for anybody to get anything because you're both talking at the same time.
I just want to know how he wants to remove them from society.
And he just wants to finish what he's saying.
Yeah, thank you.
I don't know.
Yeah, maybe you could hear my submission. Maybe you could hear my submission, and you could have your answer But again, these assumptions have been made. So what I wanted to say was that not just what Sugar Belly has been saying, which is that there's this idea that we should be affirming these individuals, but in my opinion, these people aren't detrimental to our society, whether or not they are acting in malicious behavior, whether or not they're committing crimes or not. This type of ideology, which is an ideology that again contradicts human nature, we should not encourage, and we should ostracize these individuals from society. Now, eliminating and killing them, not at all. But opening up and oh my goodness, I cannot believe that the middle of my sentence started during the beginning of your sentence. I don't know what I'm doing here. The point is that
This is just fucking ridiculous, man.
Andrew, I appreciate Andrew, but I can't appreciate anyone else in this room. Because do you guys want echo chambers? Do you guys like echo chambers?
How is he not done?
You're not just trolling.
Because you interrupt. Because you guys interrupt the whole time. What do you mean have I not finished? I've been interrupted over and over again.
I like.
No?
Okay, I let you talk and you didn't answer. So if you could please explain how you want to remove them from society, if it's not killing them.
Okay, look, he needs to be able to finish, and you say you let him talk, Jane, but I said to let him talk until he's done, and people are interrupting.
Oh, until he's done, so he could just talk for the next 10 minutes?
He's not going to do that.
I haven't even talked. I talked for like a minute, and then I get interrupted.
Yeah, so come on. I mean, and you can respond is same amount of time or more. Okay, Jane, it's fine. I'm sure you want to let him go.
Come on.
If you don't want to do that, JJ, it's fine. But the point is, we can't do this like hyper micromanaging of people that I don't think he isn't long.
He could have answered 10 times over.
He's not trying to answer you. He's not trying to answer you.
Me. He's not answering me.
Look.
That's what I'm saying. He could have answered
his goal. That's not his goal.
Well, is his goal to go back and repeat himself? He's just gone back and reiterated what he already said.
Because I'm trying to get back on my train. I keep getting derailed.
I mean, with all due respect, Tully, there are people that I think, I don't know, maybe you don't have respect for them, but they hold the same position that he does, okay? And people that I think you would consider friends of ours. So he doesn't like he's
not friends of mine, dude. Nope.
Okay.
Yeah, not solely. Come on.
I don't want to turn it into a personal issue and start naming names, but I think that's a weird thing to say.
Right, you keep doing that. No, I'm not friends with anybody who thinks that. Sorry.
Okay, you're not friends with anybody who thinks that this is that corrostive.
Why can't we have
think that it is something that is detrimental, it is not good for society, and it is something that should be opposed.
He said
Those people you're not friends with. He literally was defining. He was trying to say, look, I said not do anything, nothing like that.
You said remove from society.
He was going to explain that. No, and then he's going into
He wasn't going to explain that.
He didn't explain it at all.
Oh my gosh, you guys really think he's trying to do like a...
He literally said, I don't want to answer.
No, it's eugenics. I actually want, you're right, Jane, I want a genocide. I want to murder and kill and pillage no, that's so dumb.
Yeah.
Okay? What I actually am meaning, and I'll just go straight to Jane's answer. How do we...
Oh,
yeah, that'd be great. We should do 2 minutes for everyone.
Timer on. 2 minutes.
Take the timer on.
Palatable for people, like I get it. I totally get it. But if you interrupt him, because I want him to get it over with. If you interrupt him and you have literally like 1 minute, single, whatever, if you interrupt him, even if I adore you, Jane, I will move you down and bring you right back up when he's done. Because I want him to get this minute over with. Finkel, you have 1 minute to make it plain. Please go ahead.
Thank you so much. So the way that I would remove transgenders and any ideology of that matter that I would deem unfit for our society is number one, is I would not make it any form of societal norms. I would discourage this behavior through education and through hopefully, social trends. Number two is I would open up insane asylums again. I would require mental institutions for individuals who cannot change because of an actual mental disorder like gender dysphoria. Those are the ways that I would, as an individual, change our society for the better. Everyone, this is for the better.
All right, thanks, James. Did you want to respond to that?
No, I'm fine. He gave me my answer. I'm good. He wants to institutionalize them. Thank you.
Sorry, can you add me to the queue?
Yeah, let's see, it's Spike here, Spike's not here. JJ, you want to weigh in, bro?
I have a couple questions. Is he still here?
Hit it, Chewy.
Yeah, never left.
Yeah, I hear ya. You said that they're disgusting because they identify as a certain gender. I get that straight.
No, they look disgusting.
Oh.
Like a personal preference.
Well, so what do you want to do about the cis women who embrace their hairy chests and big beautiful beards?
Well, they just, I mean, that was just a personal comment that they look disgusting.
Yeah. You just want to get rid of disgusting people?
No, I didn't say the reason why I wanted to get rid of the trans
I'm
community
asking
because
you.
they're disgusting. No, don't want to get rid of disgusting people. I just think disgusting.
So it's because, just because they want to use another pronoun that you don't agree with?
No, I believe that ideology breeds really destructive natures into individuals. Suicide goes up, drug use goes up. These things are bad. We should not encourage them.
And just to be clear, JJ,
you want to get rid of them because you don't want them to commit suicide?
I want to get rid of them in our society. I don't want them to be dead. I want them to not encourage other individuals into their lifestyle.
I'm sure they'll be a lot happier when we institutionalize them.
Encourage? You think they're encouraging people?
As opposed to work.
Yeah, so I'm Gen Z, and I know that maybe a lot of you are millennials and older than that. But as a Gen Zer, I know people because Gen Z, fun fact, identify well over almost 1/3 of us identify in the LGBTQ community. So I know a good amount of people, and we have been encouraged. I mean, the rates have only gone up in identification rather than has stayed stagnant. So this is why I would say we need to stop encouraging this behavior.
Forced? Like, what do you
Yeah,
mean
this-
coerced?
No.
Like, what do you mean?
Coercion has definitely happened, I believe.
Did it make you want to go and get a sex change?
No, not me.
No, and perhaps the people that do want to get a sex change just want to get a sex change, because it was their choice.
Yeah, and those individuals have a mental disorder and should be treated as such.
They weren't forced or coerced.
Well, some people were, some people weren't. But the people who weren't, they should be in a mental institution and should be treated as that.
What do you think? What do you think?
Put in a mental institution, because by what you're saying, it's like people with like depression. A lot of people have mental issues who are completely like gender, I don't know, normal compared to what you're saying. So what do you think should happen to all those people?
Are you saying other people with other mental disorders like schizophrenia and such should? Yes, I do also believe that as well.
No, they don't have to be institutionalized. You're ignorant.
That's correct. This guy is going to be like really disappointed when he finds out what the standard for intervention is for trans people.
Yeah, sorry.
I don't understand. I don't understand this point of saying yes, they should receive the appropriate psychiatric care. What do you think that is?
Well, I mean, the appropriate psychiatric care of 2026 is much different than what, hopefully, again, in my perfect ideal world, of what my psychiatric care would be for them.
Okay.
Right, I understand, but you're going to talk about what your psychiatric care is. Are you a psychiatrist?
This guy is a fucking.
Yeah, Jane, you should actually ask this guy about Chad fishing.
No, but like Finko, Keegan, Stein, like why should anyone care about what you have to say? Are you a psychiatrist?
Right, listen to Keegan, he's a loser and a virgin.
The Gen Z
How you guys doing?
should care.
Andrew, what's your queue?
This is like silly. It's like, well, I think they should have the appropriate psychiatric care. Actually, wait, no, I don't think they should have that. They should have my psychiatric care.
Well, the appropriate psychiatric care is the reason why we're here. Again, the appropriate psychiatric care that you believe has affirmed their belief in delusion, and I say I don't agree with that.
Which is bad news for you.
How that works at all. You don't even understand what happens in the therapy when you're working with somebody with digital dysphoria. You're wrong. You're just
He's extremely ignorant.
No, but what's funny about these conversations like, we're going to appeal to the data. We're going to look at the data and the empirical science. What does that tell us? They commit, they're so is such and such, and they have such and such issues. Or it's like, okay, so what do we do with them? No, don't look at the data. Look at my asshole. That's where you'll find the problem.
Look at my asshole.
I'd like to say something.
Do you mind put some input in just for a second?
Yeah. That's what I was asking. What the cue was. Like,
sure. If you want to.
Hi, Sarah.
Hi. So, and then I'm gonna close the door. I'm putting on makeup in the bathroom. I promise you, I'm not doing other activities. I think that I am not. I don't want to say I'm against people doing transgender surgery. The only reason why I don't want to say against it. I think it's a negative thing, is because of all the things that it takes to make the transition, like how much medication you have to take, how much issues can arise, like all the things. I just don't think that that's a very good and healthy thing, and I think that the only people that really benefit are the pharmaceutical companies from that. Nevertheless, even though I think that that's a really bad idea, I think that if we're living in a world that Kim Kardashian wants to put a big ass on and people want to get big ass titties, then anyone can do whatever they want. We have no right to say like, okay, this is permissible, these alterations are permissible, this alteration is not permissible, you're taboo, you need to be eliminated. Either you make that, you don't be a hypocrite, you make that all across the state board when it comes to cosmetic surgeries, or you mind your own business. That's smart.
I completely agree. We should have authoritarianism.
Okay, so yeah, I'm just gonna preface what I'm saying by saying that I don't agree with Finkel. I honestly, I can't even believe, like you said, that I don't think that trans people need to be gotten rid of from society. Like, that's crazy. I also don't think that they should be institutionalized. Like, that's also ridiculous. I think that the problem that we're having is that instead of people solving the problem that trans people are facing, they're doing the thing that society has done with a lot of other problems, and that is dumping it on women, right? So one of the big issues that trans people are facing is that they face a lot of violence. I don't know who was that tried to bring up the point. I think it was Sully, but he brought it up in the wrong context. The violence that trans people face is overwhelmingly and predominantly violence from males, right? Violence from men. When they say, X number of trans people were killed in this particular year, virtually all of them were killed by men. Like, when trans people face hostility, they're facing violent hostility mostly from men, right? So there's a serious problem where everybody ignores this because they're too busy trying to, stuff trans women in women's spaces under the claim of trying to make them safe. Nobody's holding men accountable for their unwarranted violence against trans women or even other trans people, like trans men, right? Nobody's putting pressure on men to change their behavior and to stop allowing their homophobia make them go and harass a trans woman who's minding his business, peeing in the men's bathroom. They say, the men's bathroom is not safe for trans women. Why is it not safe? The reason why it's not safe is because his fellow men inside the men's bathroom, instead of them minding their business and peeing, they're going to try and menace him because they don't like the fact that, his presentation is feminine. That is the real source of the problem, right? And you can't solve that problem by taking away women's rights, by making women more unsafe or inconveniencing women just because you want to keep, trans women safe, because that's not fair. Right? So that's the first thing. And then to what Salah said about the surgeries, I also partially agree in the sense that everybody who's an adult should be able to do whatever surgery or whatever thing they want to do. It's not anybody's business really, what surgery or thing that you want to do. However, the problem is that, these are billed as sex change surgeries, and the surgeries are completely ineffective for the purpose of changing sex, right? And it's not even the fact that people are doing the surgeries or they're presenting how they want to present that like anybody has a problem with. It's the consequence of that. So basically, somebody lies down on an operating table, you know, that person is a man. When they lie down, they wake up from that operating table and they say, as a consequence of me having done this surgery, right, to appear more feminine, now give me access to things that have been reserved for females, despite the fact that the surgery did not change my sex at all, because in human beings, it's completely impossible to change sex, right? So just because I now, you know, I've done some cosmetic or like, you know, surface level changes to look female, give me things that are meant for females. And that's where the problem is.
Like what?
2 minutes till you guys get the chance, if you don't mind.
Like what that is meant for females.
Sorry, what did you say?
Like what that is meant for females exactly.
Yeah, so for example, the identification of females, right? So basically call me a woman or allow me to participate in sports that are meant for females, allow me to be imprisoned in a prison that is meant for females, right? We all have real life cases of these instances happening. There's many documented cases. Some of these cases are even in court.
I'm actually a little shocked because heterosexual people, we don't have these conversations. If I go on a date with a man and I say, "Excuse me, honey, I'm going to the bathroom," he can make an ass out of himself and assume that I'm going to go to the women's bathroom. And if he gets up out of his chair and says, "Excuse me, darling, I'm going to head to the bathroom, the restroom," I'm going to make an ass out of myself and assume he's going to go into the men's room. I'm just gonna make an ass out of myself. So what's been created here is just a propagated gay agenda because people want to be seen and people want to be heard and people want to be felt. You didn't like being a man, so you want to try being a woman. And most of the time when these men go try to be a woman, they don't get treated any better than when they were a man. And really and truly, shouldn't we be shouldn't we be questioning why are men running away from being men? Let's talk about why are YT men, hello? Why are YT men run away from being a man? Did you not like what masculinity brought them? Because I could have sworn patriarchy. Okay, here we go. Here we go. Here we go.
So you think,
okay, all right, you
like,
gonna shut up long enough so I can talk?
No.
No?
Actually.
Yeah? Okay, good. All right, Bobby.
This isn't like a yapping
Thank you very much, Bobby boy. I'm sorry, are you a crossover? Which one are you? Just let me know.
That's just my view, then, to be honest. So this isn't a space where you just get to endlessly yap. I get that you've been like conditioned from other rooms on Clubhouse where for some inexplicable reason, the norm has become like everyone just gets to land their fucking plane. I gotta land the plane. Like,
Just get to the point. Just get to the point, Bob.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing. I don't care about landing the plane. I don't care about like pointless rhetorical appeals to I need to say all the things that I had queued up in my brain.
We get it, Bob. Get to the point.
The point was landed. The point was landed. So just FYI. But we get the point. But that appeal is just brain dead because nobody researching any of this, like psychiatrists and scientists are researching this. Nobody thinks that the reason people are trans is because like I don't like being this, and like maybe they were unsuccessful as men, and now they're to be women. Nobody thinks that. Nobody thinks that's the cause of like transgenders and gender dysphoria. So those points are like entirely hollow and pointless.